Hello, this is Ned Williams. Welcome to Part 6 of the Fixing Everything series on MHTV, presenting my ideas for fixing the federal government. Today we're going to grab a hold of the third rail of politics, entitlements. Social Security and Medicare entitlement programs tax those who can least afford it, those making less than $113,000 through payroll taxes. And these programs promise benefits that cannot possibly be paid for. Like many of you, I'm retired and happy to make believe that I'll have entitlement programs to fall back on. Social Security is a significant part of my retirement planning, so I'm certainly not going to propose something that will hurt current retirees. Since I'm over 65, I do have Medicare, but I don't trust the quality of government-run medicine, so I cover myself and family with private insurance. I would certainly rather have cash or insurance voucher than Medicare. Social Security and Medicare are unsustainable. Early Social Security recipients received far more than they contributed. The first Social Security recipient, a woman named Ida Mae Fuller, paid only $24.75, that's $24.75 in taxes, but ultimately received $22,889. Originally, there were 16 workers for every recipient, but that coverage is now diving below 3 workers per recipient. In 2002, one could retire with full benefits at age 65. Today, retirement age is 66, going up to age 67 by 2027. Early retirement can be taken at age 62 with a reduction in annual benefits. And Medicare benefits begin at age 65. To put this in perspective, the original age for retirement benefits was established as 70 years old in 1889 by Otto von Bismarck in Germany, when life expectancy was 45 years versus the current 75 plus. One can see that politicians have expanded these programs to unsupportable levels. Healthcare costs will only be driven down by a cost-sensitive, patient-based approach. Yet, the path we're on includes third-party payment, so-called death panels, and the FDA. Central control of procedures will stifle the innovation necessary to cut costs to sustainable levels. But sustainability is not my focus today. What's the even bigger problem that no one's talking about? Entitlement programs have destroyed personal savings, the seed capital for economic growth. FICA taxes displace savings. FICA tax revenues are spent immediately, rather than invested for economic growth, as would have occurred had individuals been allowed to save for their own retirement. Many outstanding issues can be either solved or diminished by the faster economic growth that will come with personal savings accounts. Keynesian logic states that consumption is good, while savings is bad. The problem with such one-stage thinking is that saved resources do not stay idle. Interest paid on savings can only be paid because a higher return can be earned on the projects in which those savings are ultimately invested. Private investments grow the economy through the purchase of productivity-improving capital goods and job creation. And we wonder why jobs have disappeared. It's important to remember that a recession or a depression is a downturn in the business cycle. Recovery cannot occur if resources are sucked from the private sector by government. We began this recession with government below 20% of the economy, and it is now 24%. That means that the private economy has been reduced from 80% to 76%. Can we really build a dynamic and growing economy if this trend continues? Today, the average retiree receives $14,000 from Social Security and about $14,000 in Medicare benefits. Let me stress that these are only averages, and the 1025 plan will deal with actual payments due. Averages are used here to help explain the net effects of my proposals. Under the 1025 plan, instead of $28,000 in benefits, each retiree will receive an annual $10,000 safety net payment plus $18,000 buyout of benefits adjusted for inflation. Instead of Medicare, cash payments will be deposited into individual health savings accounts. A retired couple will have approximately $28,000 annually to purchase private health care as a replacement. Those currently retired will have improved medical care and no change in net cash received from Social Security's replacement. For those who have not yet retired, early retirement will be phased out by increasing minimum early retirement ages and decreasing early retirement benefits. Under the 1025 plan, FICA and Medicare taxes will cease. Retirement age, or at least the age at which retirement benefits begin, will be pushed back over the current schedule by 1/3 of a month for every month worked without paying FICA. For example, if 1025 begins on January 1st of next year, and someone had planned to retire at age 66, 1 month later on February 1st, his new retirement date would be moved back to February 9th. This delay loses 1/36th of the $18,000 annual buyout, or $500 in benefits. Someone planning to retire on March 1st would lose 2/36, retiring 20 days later than expected. However, to offset that loss, neither would pay FICA for the intervening period. All those making in excess of $30,000 annually will actually come out ahead. Taxes paid should exceed benefits lost. Wouldn't you rather keep the money in your hands rather than throw it away? Let me review the numbers again. Current retirees will receive the same total amount that they expected under Social Security and Medicare, but they will receive Medicare benefits in cash. These government payments will be made even more secure by instituting fiscal discipline on the federal government. Those not yet receiving benefits will lose $500 in benefits by having their retirement date pushed back for every month worked without paying FICA and Medicare taxes. However, take-home pay should increase by enough to compensate for lost future benefits. Buyout payments will occur whether or not the individual actually retires. We want those who can still be productive to participate in the growing economy. For many knowledge workers, retirement is a dated concept. By the end of the first year, the impact will be $2 billion out of $60 billion monthly benefits, increasing by another $2 billion every full year. Effectively, all entitlement commitments will be gone in 30 years. This program will make entitlement commitments sustainable by the end of 10 years, when debt growth will be surpassed by GDP growth. The 1025 plan also includes another program for entitlement buyout reduction called the painless tax. For more detail, you may want to review Part 3B of the Fixing Everything series that covered taxes, found on YouTube. Briefly, a one-time tax on capital gains was made painless, in part by allowing taxpayers to satisfy the tax by reducing their future entitlement buyout benefits. The immediate impact will only be felt by those with capital gains who are already retired, but the cumulative effect should reduce our sustainability horizon by an additional year. What are the hazards of private accounts? Won't people make mistakes? Of course they will, but individual mistakes can be easily mitigated, as opposed to systemic mistakes like the entire Social Security system running out of money. Secondly, all will be shielded from total failure. At minimum, they will always have the $10,000 per adult safety net. And buyout funds will disappear slowly over a 30-year period, providing plenty of time to modify savings habits. What if the market crashes? Some portion of retirement savings should always be invested in conservative bonds or high-yielding stocks that will not crash. And as regular monthly contributions to retirement savings account begin to support market prices, volatility should decrease. But won't people just spend that extra take-home pay? The real beauty of this program is that people will be forced to become personally responsible rather than dependent on government handouts. What about those who are incompetent? Family members or surrogates will be appointed for mentally incapable individuals. Penalties for misuse of such trust will be severe. There will be basic guidelines to exclude high-risk investments, but those who don't have the skills to manage money will have to acquire those skills the hard way. What about end-of-life considerations? You certainly wouldn't want a government bureaucrat making those decisions, since they rarely bother to familiarize themselves with individual circumstances. Such decisions should remain within the tight circle that includes the individual himself, close family, doctor, and healthcare provider. To summarize, government debt will crush us unless we reduce spending. Cuts in discretionary spending and/or increased tax rates will not balance the books. We must get out from under extravagant entitlement commitments. The only sensible way out is a migration path that takes us from where we are today to where we would like to be over a generation. The current arrangement allows government to consume savings that would otherwise become growth-stimulating long-term investment. Personal savings accounts will reinvigorate the economy and spur job growth. Well, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this segment of the Fixing Everything series. If you'd like to see more, they can be found on YouTube by searching Fixing the Federal Government. That's all for now. See you next time.